Willpower isn't the issue when the feminine hijacks your dreams and goals. Friends, this is what we're going to talk about today. You've been there. I know you have. An impulse purchase when you want to save, a lot of sweet treats when you want to cut back on sugar. The list can go on. And if you're like me, in the past, you've probably automatically blamed some of the more masculine energies. A lack of willpower, a lack of self-control, all of that. Not enough discipline, which cue the shame and the blame game, right? Oh my gosh. So this year I had this soul-opening realization that I want to share with you because I think it's going on more than we realize. What I realized was that it wasn't an imbalance of my masculine energy that was creating those sabotaging behaviors. It's an imbalance within my feminine. I know, which I feel like is not popular to say because right now we're in this process of empowering the feminine and rising up in empowered feminine energy. But this is part of it, looking at the shadow side of the feminine. And I was like, holy F, I've never even considered this, that I didn't have a lack of discipline in certain areas or a lack of willpower. I was letting emotional whims run the show, which is like the imbalanced feminine feelings, right? And when I had this realization, I thought of my daughter. Like, she's just beginning to understand the concept of birthdays. So now she thinks every day is her birthday. And therefore, every day she deserves cake. And that's kind of like how our imbalanced, like wild, highly emotive, without some consciousness shining on it, feminine can be, right? So my feminine was kind of like the imbalanced, like whiny, I deserve everything I want right now, 2-year-old. And so blindly following my emotions without bringing some consciousness to the decision was kind of leading to some of that behavior that I was blaming on, like lack of willpower, lack of self-control, things like that. But truth be told, there wasn't even a dialogue between my masculine and feminine because I was just going on emotional whims at times. I was letting my emotions take the lead, like to seek a hit of comfort or a moment of pleasure without actually tuning in to see what do I really want and making my emotions a part of the decision. Because emotions are super powerful, but I was letting them run wild in certain ways, and I've seen this with clients too. So I'm asking you so you can take a look and see where that might be happening to you. My willpower, he didn't have like a fighting chance because he wasn't even consulted on these situations, right? And in partnership, that's really what we're doing right now in the world is like balancing the masculine and feminine. And in partnership, they would be making wiser decisions than when I am on like a masculine or a feminine, like emotional rampage. So that's like where the magic really happens, right? Is when we're bringing the masculine and the feminine into the situation. So if you're someone who's questioned like your willpower or your discipline or your self-control, I want you to tune into the energy of this that I'm sharing today and see, like, is my feminine hijacking any of the situations that are creating frustration for me? Because of course, like a one-off situation, like, oh, I want to cut back on something and I indulged in it. Like a one-off situation is not a big deal, but when we're doing it as a pattern, that's where we get frustrated. And it has the ability to impact the dreams and the goals that we're working towards. When we find us like in the loop, stuck in the loop of the same old thing, stuck, frustrated, it feels like a struggle instead of feeling closer to the internal state that we want to feel and the external results. So this isn't to blame the feminine or masculine or like point any fingers. It's just an opportunity to shine some light on a shadow that might exist within the feminine energies, to explore and to bring some consciousness to the feminine to see like where am I just boom reacting to a whim, to an emotion, instead of bringing consciousness to it and to tune into like what my higher self really wants before making the decision or going down a path. So is there anything that needs forgiving as you go through this? How would you like to respond differently going forward? Because any opportunity that we have to bring a little extra consciousness to something goes a long way. And sometimes we're still going to choose to stay up late and watch TV even though we want more rest. or to, have the sweet treat even though we want to cut back on sugar. There's moments where we're going to consciously choose, but when we're not bringing consciousness to it and we're just going off of an emotional whim, that's where we create the shame, the blame, and we get stuck in the patterns of frustration. So take a look at this and let me know what comes up for you. It was very eye-opening for me. Just tune in, like, where might your feminine be going a little rogue in not such a good way? And where do you want to bring her back into the partnership between the masculine and the feminine?